to hear from you. All right, thank you. All right, yeah, so as I was saying, we really want to share with you, and we also want to hear with you all. I know we have some people who are joining from Zambia and the rest of the continent, but I know the majority are from Kenya. So karibuni sana Kenyans, and we're really looking forward to a very engaging and very informative session. So my name is Maria, and I'll be your host and also a speaker. But before I start to introduce myself, please allow me to introduce two of my colleagues who these are some of my friends that I hold close to my heart, and they're very informative, credible, and people who have really done a lot in their personal life and also in community life. And so I'll start by introducing Collins Ketere, who is an academic with a robust interdisciplinary background. Collins holds a bachelor's degree in education in arts from Egerton University. This is Kenya, of course, and a master's degree in international studies with a focus of African studies at Ohio University. He's currently pursuing PhD in instructional technology, specializing in the digital environments of teaching, learning, and agency at Ohio University. So, and Collins is also a lifelong advocate for transformative power of education and is deeply committed to addressing educational disparities among marginalized communities. His capstone project, which delved into gender inequalities in higher education, especially in Kenya, underscores his dedication to promoting equitable access to education. Should have moved to the next slide, actually. Okay, yeah, so that's Collins of course, on the photo, yeah. And the second person is, just pull up her profile. Doreen Otieno holds a bachelor's degree of education from Egerton University as well, and a postgraduate diploma from the Kenya Institute of Management. She also earned a Master's of Science degree from Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, JKUAT, and a Master's of Science in Educational Research and Evaluation from Ohio University. Any Ohio now, Kenya, Joe. Doreen is currently pursuing a PhD in Educational Research and Evaluation at Ohio University. Her research interests include e-learning methodologies, artificial intelligence, and validity and evaluation of educational programs. Yeah, so those will be our two speakers. And myself, of course, I'm Maria. I'm also a PhD student pursuing my PhD in geography at the Pennsylvania State University. I also had my master's in geography at Ohio University, of course, and I did my bachelor's degree in environmental science from Kenyatta University. So today we are so happy to be with you here to engage you. First of all, sorry to speak in Swahili. By the way, hii ni kitu yetu na si wote tunataka to discuss, and feel free to ask any question. No question is seen as no question is small. Let me just say that. And every discussion counts. So we are here to make you feel comfortable. This is a safe space for you to share what you feel like you want to share and to ask questions. So please pay attention. Ukiwa na ka notebook kako, feel free to note down which you feel like that will be so important to you. So to start us off, Doreen Otieno will yeah, will give us will take us through the overview of the program and starting where the journey begins. Doreen, please feel free to start discussing. Let me know if I can, if you're still muted, I can mute you. It's just that I can't see your name. Collins, are you able to unmute Doreen, please? Right. Okay, I can see her here.
Oh, there we go.
Oops, sorry.
I think we're there.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Maria, for that introduction. And to my dear colleagues, we call each other colleagues because we're in this journey together. I appreciate the time that you've taken to come and listen to what we're about to say. Basically, we were discussing with our colleagues and what we agreed that this is going to be a conversation. We're just going to share our experience, tell you what the journey is all about, where it starts, and how you're going to go through it. We believe that if you've joined this webinar, then you have an interest in pursuing your studies in the US. So that is the journey that we want to share. So I'll be going through whatever is on the screen now, and just a moment. So as I go on with this discussion, my colleague Collins will be posting a few of links that will be very important to you guys. And I don't know, Maria, is it okay for us to switch to Swahili sometimes, or we have a large group of numbers from outside the Kenya?
We have, I'm not sure how many people have joined that cannot speak Swahili.
We have from Malawi and Zambia.
Okay.
So we stick to English.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know,
that's fine.
You know, as Kenyans, you might talk and you find, oh, okay, now someone has confirmed that he is from Zambia. That's fine. So I think we'll have to stick to, to English. Sometimes when you come from Kenya, you'll be talking and then you find yourself automatically switching to Swahili, but it's okay. So we'll stick to English. All right. So I think I'll talk about the aspects that are on our screen right now. And I'll be talking about the search for schools and potential advisor. So basically what I'm sharing is, where do you start your journey? Because I think many people have the thought of coming to the US, but you really do not know where to start. So at this point, we are going to discuss where the journey begins. Where really do you get these schools? Because we have many number of schools in the US, both private, public, all of them are out there. But again, if you are someone who is looking for scholarship, we always recommend that you get your bias towards public institutions because they are a bit affordable as compared to the private ones. So Collins will be sharing with us a link on the of US News report that has all the universities in the US, be it private, public, but we recommend public. So then that is our starting point. That's number one. You have to access websites. You have to access this information on the universities that we have in the US, and try and identify one or many. We also recommend many of the universities because we want to improve our chances of getting into these universities through the admission process. Number one, you must remember that the admission is very competitive. That one we cannot stress anymore. It is very competitive because it is not only Kenya, Malawi, Zambia that are applying. It's the whole African continent and beyond that are applying for these programs. I think Collins just shared that link. Thank you so much, Collins. So as you go through this university's profile, you will have to get back to where is your study line. So I will be biased towards education because I've been in the education line for a very long time, and I'll use that as an example in terms of this presentation. So what I will be looking for in these universities is which universities offer my line of education. Is it Ohio University as we speak? Is it Penn State University? Is it Washington DC University? So we have a ton of universities that offer whatever you're looking for. And once you've gotten what you're looking for, the journey does not stop there. So the process will start with the admission. But number one thing that is the main important factor that I'll be talking about is the connection with your potential advisor. So as you go through these links and do your research on the universities, at the back of your mind, you will be having your potential advisor. So in this case, the beauty about the US universities is that everything is on their website. Whatever you're looking for in that particular university is on the website, be it a potential advisor, be it any information on how you are going to apply, it is on the website. So you have to make yourself, you have to bring yourself outside there to be a person to be able to research deeper into what this website offers. I always joke with my colleague Collins that, hey, this US thing is like a full-time job other than what you're doing. Like if you want to apply for a course, it's like you've put everything aside and you're really going out there because you have to do a ton of research on those universities. And actually in this case, you're not applying for one university, 2, 3, 4, there are many of them. I know my colleague Maria will talk about the application process, but we also recommend that to increase your chances, you have to apply to many universities, a number of them. And by a number of them, we mean we also are real to the fact that back home, the economic angle is something to take into consideration. By this, I mean that the application fee is not also something you cannot say that you're going to apply to 50 universities and you apply and pay fees for all of them. So by this, we recommend that you look into those universities that have an application waiver. So many schools look into those that have application waivers, and then the ones that you can apply and pay application fee, we also recommend that you do the same. So that is where we start from, looking into what schools you're going to look for. Go into these schools. Once you've identified your potential schools, go into these schools' website and do your research as much as possible. And then now when you get into these schools and you do your research as much as possible and you identify a particular program you're interested in, then this is where the issue of research interest, your potential advisor, research profile now starts to play. So in this case, what I mean is that, for instance, we've identified that you're going to do a master's in educational research and evaluation. So this is when you go to the websites, this is a specific area you're going to look into. And when you get into this particular program, you will find that you have a number of professors in this program. So let's say you have like 6 professors in this, in the program you've identified. So we're at a stage where you've identified that I'm going to do this master's or I'm going to do this PhD. So then the next step is, who are you going to work with? And the biggest question is, what are you bringing on the table? So we always say that at this point, you're not coming in as a student, you're coming in as a professional. And this is going to be displayed in how you coin your research interest, on how you coin your research, like what really do you want to study? You come to the US, what change do you want to bring, or what do you want to study? And what are you going to do better in terms of that, the academic bracket? And in this case, the academic bracket is not you as Doreen Otieno, is not you as Collins Ketere. It is the whole cycle of everyone, be it the professor, be it the university, be it the students. So in this case, your research should be out there, such that if I sit down and I'm reviewing your admission process, your admission papers, and I'm like, this is the person to go to. So, and Mark, if you have 1,000 applications and you want to be the best out of this 1,000, then we really have to put in the work. So then after you've identified your potential course, in this case, we have a ton of professors in that particular field. So if, for instance, I give an example with what I do, you will find that we have 4 professors in educational research and evaluation. One professor is area of expertise is statistics. Another person is qualitative research. Another person is evaluation. Another person is mixed methods. I'm just giving an example from my field. So you find that these professors have different research interests. So as you come in, you have to really decide, or you have to determine which is your area of expertise. Are you a qualitative research person? Are you a quantitative research person? In this case, statistics. Are you an evaluation person, or are you a mixed methods person? So you have to identify your area of interest. Now, after you identify your area of interest, this will take you straight to your potential advisor. So in this case, the professor whose field of interest aligns with your field of interest. So you will have now to start a discussion with this person. So the beauty is that their contacts are on the website. So if you identify that Maria Mogeni is going to be my potential advisor, you will find their university email address on the website. So then at this point, you can start your connection. But even before you start the connection, you have to ask yourself, what am I adding onto this professor's profile? Because they're looking at what are you bringing to add onto already, what I already have. So in this case, we talk about coining your research profile. So you have your interest. If you are a counselor, possibly you want to start to research on a project that has been going on, or you want to research on an area that is going on, and you feel like this research, when you do it together with the professor and you do it as a team, then there is going to be a very big impact. And the professor's line of research interest has to align with yours, so that you are working with him, not for him. You're working with him to bring this change. So in most cases, they'll be looking for people who work with them, for people who align with their research interest, because professors are always every day they are at a game of producing publications on different fields and all this. Are you that student who is going to come in to add on to this profile? Or are you that student who is going to come in and improve their profile and the university's profile in the end? So there's a lot that goes on in play at this particular point. So once you decide your research interest and you've decided that this is going to be by potential advisor, then you start writing what is known as statement of purpose. I know Maria will expound on what statement of purpose is, but at this point, the reason why I bring it is because when you start your conversation with your professor, before the review of your admission, you already have someone who has identified your potential, whom you've had talks with, and they're open to receiving emails discussing you're discussing your interest in applying for that program, and you feel like whatever he's doing aligns with yours. Now, this again, we say, never give up when you don't receive responses from professors. These are people who receive thousands and thousands of emails from students. And they really have to have liked your profile for them to respond back. So this again, we say, never give up, just continue with your commitment and get hold of professors to like your profile, align with the professor's profile as much as possible. That is number one, align with them as much as possible. Because when you get hold of this professor, then that is where your journey begins in terms of getting to the program. So, sorry about that. Okay, then now again, in terms of researching on your profile, on your professor's profile, there are a number of ways you can get their profiles other than the website. So in the US, the number one social media platform that is huge is the LinkedIn profile. So we also advise potential students to build their LinkedIn profile, and all your professors are on LinkedIn. So you will be, once you identify them on your website, you will go to the LinkedIn and review their profile from there. Now, what does this mean? This means that you as an individual has to have a LinkedIn profile that communicates your profession, your professional journey. So we always joke that when back then we would upload our LinkedIn that we went to a burial somewhere and blah, blah, blah. So this really doesn't sell you, or we went to do some few social aspects of things that are not related to your field of study. This in LinkedIn doesn't communicate your profile. So we are talking of building or improving your profile to communicate the expertise you're going to bring, because once a professor likes you, the #1 place he or she runs to in the US is your LinkedIn profile. So make sure your LinkedIn profile is at par with your admission. And then I think on your research profile too, make sure that you update all of these things. So just in a snapshot, I've talked about the search for schools. Collins has sent us the link to it. I've talked about getting the professor's profile. I've talked about research interests. I don't know, Maria, if there's anything I've left out, but I believe I've touched on whatever I was given to touch. Thank you so much. Back to you, Maria.
Yeah, thank you so much for that impressive discussion, Doreen. You really touched about almost what is required before the journey begins, you know, and I like that you mentioned the number of schools that somebody is supposed to start, like do the application, at least. Okay, you can put all your eggs in one basket, but sometimes it's also good to distribute around just in case they all break. Yeah. Okay, so moving forward, I'll be talking about the nitty-gritty of this journey. First of all, do you even have a passport? Yeah? Passport is #1 thing that you need. So start getting those passports. I know, for example, in Kenya right now, I think things have changed. Yeah, like things have really improved in getting the passport. So if you are in this platform and you're planning to come to the US to study, passport should speak to you. I mean, you should be seeking passport as soon as possible. And then you need to have an updated CV, you know, and just try and Google around what are some sample of best CVs. We also have some professionals who write good CVs. You have to update your CV and write it professionally. If you don't know how to do it, you can ask around your friends, you know, or even just Google online. You will get some of the software that will improve your CV. And just on your CV, you want to write the best about you. You want to put in what have you been doing? And it doesn't matter if you have like maybe a gap, let's say two years gap searching for jobs or not going to school. These people are so understandable. Nobody will ask you, what were you doing in 2018 when there is nothing on your CV? So just be as critical as you should be. And then the third thing is having statement of purpose. I know Doreen has touched on this, but this speaks volume. And by the way, I just forgot to mention that I know we have different categories of people in here. We have some undergraduate, people who are interested in undergraduate and also in graduate studies, but mostly we are focusing on graduate. And what I'm just mentioning here for the application requirement, I believe it also applies to undergraduate students, and also what Doreen has mentioned should be applying to undergraduate students, especially when you're searching for school. I'm not sure. I don't think if the undergraduate will require an advisor, but they will require to search for schools when you want to apply. Yeah, so statement of purpose, this is like the key, you know, it's a key to getting you to that door. In this statement of purpose, you don't want to tell them that, oh, I am an orphan, or I don't have funding. You are writing a professional statement. You're producing your research. You are writing how the best you are. You know, they're looking for the best. We're not saying that we're the best of the best, but yeah, they are looking for the best. They want to see, what are you bringing to the table, as Doreen mentioned? What is the challenge? So for example, I'm in geography, and in geography, statement of purpose, you have to introduce the problem. What is the problem, What is that thing that is the problem that you want to tackle? And how are you going to tackle? And why do you think that you are the best fit to tackle that problem? For example, I will give an example. When I was writing my statement of purpose, I just introduced myself. I talked about my childhood growing up in rural village, and I used to see people planting trees. I mean, crops, and people will just have a lot of harvest. But as time went by, harvest started being limited, and people are not planting as they used to be. And now that is like a problem. I'm introducing a problem that I feel like this is not only affecting my community, but it's actually a problem that everybody's is being affected. So then I put in, so I didn't know why these people are not planting the food, like they're not growing the crop that they used to grow, for example, cassava, And then I wrote in that statement, I said, so because I came to realize that there is this huge thing called climate change. So I realized this climate change has affected weather patterns, has affected people's way of living. And so I'm so interested to learn how we can how we can come up with strategies on helping people to go back, or at least improve their way of life, or their planting seasons, So the statement of purpose stands out. And also in the same statement of purpose, you want to mention which professor, or especially which professor have you reached out, and have you gotten into contact with them, just as Doreen mentioned. That's why she said you have to at least make contact with one or two professors that you think they align with your area of interest. So I will tell you, if you're planning to come in the US next year, start writing your statement of purpose as soon as now. Sleep over it, write it for a week, forget about it for 2 weeks, then go back and say, okay, what did I write here? Does it even make sense? And as the more you take time, it's like baking. It's like baking something. It takes time to bake a good cake. Yeah. So you need to spend a lot of time on there. Also, if you have friends, you can, maybe colleagues who can also kind of just go through your purpose. I know most of us, when growing up, we used not to share, especially a statement of purpose. Oh, somebody will copy me or what? No, it doesn't work like that here. The more you get reviews, the more it gets better. So you can tell people, not especially those people who are within your area of interest. For example, because me, I'm a geographer, I will need somebody who is also a geographer, especially maybe my peer or even my seniors, to go through my statement of purpose. And the reason why I'm so insisting on the statement of purpose, because the statement of purpose also serves as when you're applying for the graduate admission, it also serves as a funding, like a scholarship request, And that is the good thing with the US. You don't have to apply scholarship differently and then apply admission differently. That one application serves the two purposes. So that's why you have to put your best fit forward. Research statement. It can also, so some of the schools will also request you to submit a research statement. And already Doreen has mentioned that you just want to write a research statement that you feel, this is what I'm coming to do, this is what I'm bringing here. And I hope that with your capacity and the well-positioned professors, I will be able to achieve my research interest, So these are just ideally application requirements, and they're almost constant to around all the schools. They will also need your transcripts. By the way, if you still have maybe outstanding fees back in KU or in JKUAT, you have to clear it, because you will need your transcripts in good shape, especially. You'll need them for your admission. Some will even want the school to send them directly from your from your undergraduate school to the graduate school that you're applying to. Then we come to the prerequisites. A lot of actually right now they have waived these prerequisites, which is TOEFL. TOEFL is an English test, and GRE is mainly it tests all aspects of English, especially writing. No, wait. This is for TOEFL. It tests all aspects of English, writing, listening, speaking, and what else? Yeah, I think I can remember those three, but I know there are 4: writing, speaking, listening, and reading. Yeah, it's exactly. So you have some schools will request you to post your English test. But others, especially if you've studied in an English teaching or English taught institutions, you can ask for a waiver, or actually some of the schools already mention that on their website, that if you studied using English, then that is waived for you. And GRE, there are also some schools who still especially require GRE, and especially these courses to do with the engineering, medicine, they test your mathematics level, your IQ, and etc. Also, English is embedded in there. But I will advise you, because all this comes with a cost. For example, TOEFL, sitting for TOEFL you'll need to at least have 20,000 Kenya shillings at least, same as to GRE. So we encourage you to go for schools that do not require these. I personally did a TOEFL, but I didn't do a GRE. It was during Corona, and then they said, oh, because of Corona, GRE has been waived. I was like, oh my God. Yeah. So it was a relief for me. Yeah. So, and since COVID, these two prerequisites have been waived so many times, and especially across the university. So I just encourage you to go through websites, universities that do not require you to get this. But if you're looking into engineering or these other, especially tech courses, you will need to sit for them. Recommendations. I can't emphasize more on recommendations. You want to write, you want to get recommendation from the best. And you know why I'm saying the best? Because they speak volume to your application. Yeah. These professors want to hear how are other people talking about you. Especially, they will mostly want professors, people who have taught you. Yeah. Maybe you've been in that your teachers, especially, let me just say teachers, lecturers, let me say lecturers. Some you can also submit maybe from your employer, but they emphasize more on lecturers. So it's not just a one sentence. I remember when I was asking for my recommendation in my university, and I approached my lecturer, they have this generic recommendation that they just give to everybody. The only thing they do is editing the name. It's so different here. They want to read word by word. The longer the recommendation, the better, They want to know, how have you been performing in class? How good can you teach? Actually, how can you present? How was your research skills? How are you discussing in class? So you want to take to somebody to ask somebody who has an idea of who you are, and you've made that rapport, you've connected with them well, and just let them write as much as they can, and you can always reach out to somebody if you feel like you don't exactly understand how to request for a recommendation letter and what should be in the recommendation letter. You can always reach out to people who are already in the US, or people who have gone through the same process. And final thing is the application fee. most of schools require applications fee, but most of them also waive. So you can you can reach out to these universities and ask them to waive for you. You know, it's so hard right now. I mean, economic hard time is across the globe, and you want to maximize your potential while also conserving your little cash that you have, because once the journey starts, you will need more resource than you can imagine. So first of all, this is so engaging. It's an engaging process, and it really needs, you have to focus, you have to put your mind on it. Otherwise, people do give up on the way. And I'm pretty sure that once you decide, you can make it. I mean, look at us, we did it, and we don't see the reason why you should not make it yourself. So as I was talking about application fee, you can request for a waiver right to the department, the one that you want to apply to, or even to the graduate school, and just put in your email, ask for a waiver. Please don't say that, oh, I cannot make it, or because I'm so poor. No one, in fact, nobody wants to get a poor person here, you know? So you just, I mean, know how to twist your language. Twist language. Hakuna ile akiwoye, no, that's no. So just know how to position your language when requesting for application waiver. But majorly, they vary from $45 to some go up to $120. I remember when I was applying for a PhD, and then I applied to this school in Canada, which I feel like it really wasted me and my money. I put in an application, and then I actually, first of all, you have to make sure that it's okay not to get a response from the professors. It's very okay. And most of the time I tell people, it's not your problem. It's you put in your energy. Even hata Mungu pia anajua. Even God knows that you've put in your energy, you know? So it's not your problem. Even if you apply, sometimes you apply to 5 schools and you don't even get admission. It's not your problem. It is their problem, you know? It is your problem. So as I was telling you, when I was applying to for my PhD, and then I applied to this school in Canada, they charged me $120 just to give me a regret letter. Can you imagine that? So painful. I was like, this is so much. When I converted that money into Kenyan shillings, it was so much. Come on. Yes. So what I'm saying is you have to be strategic, go for application waivers, also save, because as I mentioned, it's so you need some resources for you to be able to succeed. And then we also have application period. Application in the US majorly starts in October, November. I mean, October to December, but we also have schools who go up to January, you know? I remember when I was applying, I was so eager to apply, I mean, to come to the US. And I was applying when I had all my application materials ready, even before application dates open. So this is what happened. Imagine I'm applying in October and feedback I'm given in February. So when the application opened, I threw in all my application materials. So I'm waiting for October, November, December. I felt like, no, this is long time, you know? Yeah, but it's also important to make sure that you have application period well covered. There is an application deadline called priority deadline. Priority deadline is they give it's an early submission of your application. If you submit early, you are being considered for everything. You submit majorly for funding, you know, because funding is not easy. Not everybody gets, because these people get thousands and thousands of applications, and you find maybe they only want 5 students, especially maybe for PhD, and 12 students, because that is majorly a big number, 12 students for masters. So you have to be very keen with applications. If they say priority deadline is October 30th, make sure you have all your applications there by October 30th for you to be considered for assistantship or for any other grants that will be there. Sorry, I pushed it. And then regular deadline is is the normal regular deadline, the normal application deadline. And this one some schools might be, I see Doreen raising her hands up. Okay, some schools might even be, some school will wait until the application deadline is closed for them to open your application. I mean, it really matters. It varies with schools. If you find a priority deadline, put in before that date ends. Let me just give Doreen yeah, Doreen, you can go on.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Maria. I just wanted to add in terms of what you're just discussing about on matters of deadlines. I've had an experience where we have departments who review applications on a rolling basis. So this means that they review as they come in. And now the advantage of forwarding your application earlier means that they get to read your profile and your admission materials before they get the bulk of it. And just as Africans, you know, we always suffer from the last minute delivery of our things. Everything we do is in the last hour. So that leaves with the few who have come in early to get the cream of the cream, right? So we really encourage people to come in early as possible, put your recommendations together as early as possible. And then number two, I've seen someone who's talked on the chat and is saying that it's typical for schools to have this generic recommendation. So the experience is that the recommendation that these schools are looking for is not a university recommendation. It is an individual recommendation of yourself. So in this case, you have the power to discuss with whoever, if it is your university professor, it does not mean that he is writing on behalf of JKUAT. He is writing as a person on your personal level, individual. They can go as far as using their letterhead, but your recommendation. In this case, the doing your recommendation is talking as me, Otieno, who knows Maria Mugeni in this way, but they can use so in this case, then it makes it easier for the person who is doing a recommendation to write whatever you want. And sometimes we are human beings. You have a sit down with whoever is doing a recommendation and you tell them what you really want them to, over and above what they know about you. And you feel like if you write this recommendation this way, then it's a plus to my profile. And if they know you that you're a person who can do that and who has been doing that, why not? Then I think Maria has stressed enough the importance of recommendation, and that is where your sellout is. Thank you, Maria. That's what I wanted to add.
Yeah, no, those are very important. Thank you for adding that on the discussion, because it's so important to have a recommendation that really speaks exactly about you. Moving on, because of time, I will welcome our able Collins Ketere to take over. Welcome so much, Collins.
Thank you, both of you, for a lot of information. I'm also learning from both of you. And I would like to invite everybody. This experience will not be complete without talking about funding. Most of you who are reaching out privately, publicly, are asking, how can I study in America for free? Indeed, I want to share how you can study for free, but there's nothing for free. Even that funding comes with a work component. And before I talk about funding, I want to just reiterate what Doreen shared earlier on the issue of looking at the profiles of the professors when you're writing your SOP. Avoid lying that you read their publications, you read their book, because we talk with those professors here, and one of the African professors once told me that African students are writing that you just release a book I read. It's a lie. You have not read that book. If you have read the foreword or the introduction or the conclusion, just note that your introduction is intriguing and I want to learn more. Be honest as possible with these people because they like honesty a lot. So one of the most common ways to fund your academics here in the US is through assistantships, which are the most common ways to fund your graduate studies, and that is teaching assistantships, graduate assistantship, and research assistantships. On teaching assistantship, you'll be helping professors to teach with instructional responsibilities such as grading, leading discussion sections in class, or conducting laboratory sessions if you are in STEM. And this position receives tuition waiver. So all your tuition for academics is waived, and then you get stipend to help you with living costs here in America. And then you are able to get an opportunity to gain teaching experience with that professor. And research assistantship is where you help one of the professors in the department with research projects under the supervision of that professor, and you are able to be involved in data collection, analysis, and other research related tasks around the department. And this opportunity also has a stipend, and you're able to gain experience. And the last one is graduate assistant, where you are helping the department or a professor with administrative tasks, program coordination, and academic support. Especially what I do currently as a graduate assistant is that I help a department or a non-teaching department to carry on events around the university. We also have fellowship grants. Fellowship grants is where you get a fellowship, all tuition waiver and stipend you are sent to you given at the beginning of the semester, and you're just there to study because you have high capabilities of studies. So they recognize in your application and they're like, we just want you to study. They give you a fellowship in honor of some of the scholars around the university, maybe who died a long time ago, and they have an endowment to give to brilliant students. So you get a scholarship, a fellowship, and a grant. You're able to go back home, do research during summer, and then you just develop yourself career-wise. We have university fellowships where the university have endowments to give students, and these attract outstanding students. So if you are outstanding, your application must be outstanding, your SOP, your advisor, selection of advisor, selection of a university, your resume, update your resume. Don't have, you like swimming, you like traveling. No, don't have those things on that resume. Have things that are focused on your research, on your studies, and your previous experience and the skills that you bring on the table, as Doreen alluded to. And then you have external fellowships. These are numerous external organizations that offer fellowships. Maybe they are federal government, maybe they are state-owned organizations, maybe they are bank. World Bank is giving some, Japan graduate scholarship programs, international fellowships. They are able to give you that fellowship. We have one called, what's the name for the fellowship that Josie Mutisia had, Maria, sorry. Fulbright scholarship, and they have a teaching component too, because they also want to make sure that they gain from what you have in your mind. If some of you know something called brain drain, you can't just come and study for free. They know you are brilliant and they want to get a piece of your mind on several things. Additional funding sources will be family and personal savings. We cannot deny that all of us don't come from the same family. And as Maria said, don't say you are poor. Make sure you twist. But we also have people who can fund their studies here, family and personal savings. Be very clear on the application that you're funding your academics, so that when they are trying to distribute funding, they already give you admission because they know you can fund yourself. But mostly I know even students from America, American citizens, they also look for those funding opportunities because education in America is very, very expensive. It is in millions of Kenya shillings, Tanzanian, Malawian, Zambian, any country, it is in millions. And so none of us, or most of us, are not able to fund this. Then we also have on-campus jobs. These are 20 hours for immigrant students, international students. And it allows you to work for 20 hours a week. You are able to get a stipend, or you're paid for the work. And the work ranges from being part of the department, they give you some work to do 5 hours or 10 hours, to non-teaching departments, to general university work, even residence. A lot of work is given for 20 hours and then you're paid, and the payment depends on which state are you going to study from. Maybe you are in California, they have a different pay rate. You are in Pennsylvania, they have a different pay rate. And on-campus jobs provide additional income for international students, and even for American students here. They're also allowed to work for 25 hours and they are paid, whether they are paying school fees for themselves or they are getting a scholarship. And then we have education loans. I know we have companies that are lending students loans to study. You can also check that opportunity. And for you to get a teaching assistant, you must show that on your application, that you are good in teaching, you're good in research. They will use your resume and SOP, statement of purpose, research goals to determine who gets that job. And once you get that job, research assistant or teaching assistantship, your job begins as you start your studies. You are a teaching assistant, you arrive here, you do orientation, you begin classes like all of us, and you can begin with a class. Do not fear. You can do anything. One of our friends was asked to teach tornadoes in physical geography. And she showed up in class teaching tornado, something they have never experienced. Tornado is not in Africa. But they showed up in class, teach, and those professors can mentor you to be a role model to those undergrads. So you can do anything to get those opportunities. Don't say you can't teach because English is not your first language. English is not a superior language more than your mother tongue. As long as you know that language, you can also capture this language and teach with it. Otherwise, I want to stop there, and I will share some funding opportunities on the chat right now and share PDF on the WhatsApp group. Thank you, Maria.
Yeah, thank you so much, Collins. I really like how you emphasizing of you can't say no. You can't say no to research assistantship. You can't say no to graduate assistantship, to teaching assistants. If you say no, then that means you don't have the scholarship anyway. So you have to show up. You have to show up. You have to stand out, you know. And as you mentioned, teaching assistantship, first of all, this application is very competitive. You can find you all have the same qualification, you know, you have all the same qualifications, but what makes you unique is what will give you the assistantship. So you have to be as explicit as possible when applying to this. Yeah, so that's moving forward. Let me see if, yeah, so we will share this program, this PDF. It has funded graduate programs. It has a lot of them. So you can take your time, then just go through the PDF and try to identify which courses that resonate with your research area. Thank you so much. And now we're heading to question and answers. You can direct questions to Maria, Doreen, Collins, depending on which area you really want to have clarification on. Let me see if I can. Okay, if you have any question, can you please raise your hand using the raise hand button so that I can be able to just directly unmute your microphone. Thank you. Okay, Doreen has a hand up.
Sorry, mine is not a question. I'm just bringing us to speed on what is on our chat. So someone has talked about that. This is Trevor Chimbalanga. So talking about the validity of the universities we can apply on. This is due to scamming problems that has affected almost worldwide and the rest. So I think I'll come in fast, and maybe if Maria and Collins, you have an issue, you have an addition, you can go ahead. So I think the number one main reason why we as Africans get scammed is because we love dealing with agents. That one I can take for sure. We don't want to go direct to the process as me, Doreen, as me, Maria, me, Collins, go to the process and handle the process alone. If I give you my journey, I never used any agent applying for the university in the US. I went straight to the university's website. I applied, got an admission, and the rest is a story. So you really do not need to get someone, to get an agent or get a third person to help you with all this. As long as you get into a genuine university's website, apply from the website, the university will review your admission. And you will realize that everything, there is a point after your admission is received. If I give an example of Ohio University, then you start a point of communicating with the university through the approved university's email address. So they will build your profile after you've been given admission and you've been accepted. They'll build your profile, and then you will transition now from your personal email addresses that you've been using to the universities. They actually give you, Maria, do they set up the email right after admission? I think so. So, yeah.
Yeah, it depends with the different universities, but majorly most of them will give you the institution email. And I just want to say the application process is very easy if you have all the application materials. Nobody should be conned. Nobody should be using agents for school application, honestly. It's so easy, and once you have all the materials ready, I don't see why you should be using agent to apply. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we avoid third party as much as possible. Just get the head on and dive into that process as an individual. You can help, you can get people to help you writing your SOP. You can help someone to help you write your personal statement. There are people who also need biography. I think there are schools who need that. But when it comes to the application, please just do it as an individual. You will avoid as much scammers as possible, because in the world of technology, scamming is something that you must always come across. And now you have to know a way of risk managing these aspects. So try as much as possible to go in as an individual and do your application as you, because at the end of the day, you're the one who is going to go into the process up to the visa interview and the day you get into this country. I think I wanted to talk on that, Maria. Back to you.
All right. Thank you so much for the insight. We also have a question from Kemi or Kami. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. You asking about the cost of living, how to identify schools that have low cost of living, low school fee, and also safety. I honestly don't have a specific answer to this question. But one thing you want to do is do your own research. And as we say, this is a very intense process. Do your own research on funding or the cost of living. I know, for example, California. California is a very good state. It has all the tech industries in there, but it's also an expensive state. Living cost there is so expensive. So I'll urge you to just do your personal research and get to know which state fits you. And also, if you have friends who are already in the US, you can follow up with them. You can mostly, I do tell people to look for universities that you already know a few Kenyans are there, or maybe Ghanaians. So that will be so sound for you, because it's a good sign that it's a cheaper or most affordable state to live in. Thank you. Collins, do you have something to add on?
Yeah, I would like to answer the issue is the question on the chat. Is stipend able to sustain you? The three of us are sustained by a stipend, and we are living considerably well according to the standards of being well. So I think the stipend depends on which university. Some have higher stipends, some have standard stipends. but they use inflation to decide the type of stipend they give you. If the inflation is high, universities also raise. Some people I know, a friend of mine was admitted, and they told her that they will check the inflation and raise the stipend. So it depends on where you're going, but really the stipend is not a big problem for them. The stipend can help you pay rent, pay your subscriptions and utilities, and then summer you're free to work over 40 hours if you want, and then you're able to finance the other parts. Really, it's a wonderful one. For my friend Isaiah, who is asking, he got an application at Delaware, Admission Delaware, but without funding. My advice is that do another application every time. Do different universities. The more the applications you have, the better. Personally, I say invest in it. Apply 2-3 universities. They are expensive. It's $55, $70, $90. I applied my PhD with $90. $90 is around 13,000 Kenya shillings. It's not very cheap, but it's an investment you're making, because if you get that opportunity, you refund yourself that money as long as you arrive here. So you are able to check and apply more universities, and then you are able to get an offer, hopefully with the other university. On the question that Maria mentioned on which states are expensive or something, California, Texas, New York, DC, those are expensive. And what makes that place expensive is that that's where the rich lives, and housing goes higher. So housing is expensive. You can get all tuition waived, so you are studying for free, and then the stipend you get is you get many demands end of the month. So you need to consider living in those states because of the expensive living. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Before Doreen goes in, I see question from Zawadi. Zawadi is asking, what about moving as a family? This is a very great question, you know, and one thing that I want to assure you is US they are pro-family. And pro-family, I mean, they really encourage people to be, if you're a family, you move in as a family. So one of the best visas to come to the US, apart from green card, is a student visa. Student visa allows you to bring your family, your spouse and your children, and it also has limitation, but it still also have its benefit. For example, your children will study, but your spouse will not be able to work. But so generally the family, you can come in as a family if that is the option that you prefer to come with. And of course, we also need some family support. You need you just need somebody to talk to when you come from school, you know? You want somebody to be there to cook for you when you're tired during exam time. Yeah, so that's a good question. You can move in with a family. But it should also be costly, especially when you're just starting come here. I've seen friends coming here for kind of a year, and then they bring in their family. So it all depends on how it works for you. Thank you. Doreen, please go on.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Maria. I think there's someone has raised an issue of payment of ticket. So, and I want to iterate that the US journey is an investment in before you get to this country. So whatever you do from the start of application to the time you board that plane at, for instance, Kenya JKIA, is typically your investment. So in this case, we always also advise people that you also come to the live of the fact that it might push you a little bit when it comes to financial requirements before you leave, because we have the issues of visa fee. We have the issues of, there's something known as service fee, which is around $350. Visa fee is around $185. And then now the air ticket. So in most cases, we always try as much as possible to pull your resources together. I know it might be difficult when you are back in the country and with the economic situation and the financial aspects that is involved with this. But what I can tell you is that you can never wish away the advantage of getting that funding and getting here. Even if it means borrowing your ticket money, you will repay that ticket money. And then now, Collins has touched on stipend. I just wanted to add that we as Africans, we always have a tendency of solving all our problems back home when we get to the US. And that talks into the factor of stipend not being enough. So it's not that the stipend is not enough. It is that we are carrying all the load from home. We want to sort all our problems back home. So what we always advise is as the stipend is enough because US is giving you the stipend to stay here as a student. You pay your rent, you manage your upkeep and all that. It is enough and you can even save. But don't push yourself to the wall to solve all the problems we've left behind. That's what we always say, the problems we've left behind. So try as much as possible. We know we are people who are breadwinners, who have families. I myself, I have my family back in Kenya. You can save as little as possible to make whatever you get here, you can easily manage yourself and manage your family. But when you go beyond that, you want to build an apartment with a stipend, that one you, it will push you further. So I think let's take that into consideration, that when you get your stipend, manage the expectations from back home, because that is what pushes students to depression, where everyone now thinks that Collins has made it in life being in the US. They are going to sort all our problems. In no minute you are a member of every committee. In no minute you are a member of every, you are a board member of every, and all these things are financial issues. So manage that expectation. So number one rule, we always say that in the US, we are students. And being students does not mean that we are in full workforce. We are students, we get that little we can, we help as much as we can, but in the moment we are not able to, we also pray that the people back home understand where we stand at the moment. But the stipend is just enough for you. Even if you have a nuclear family, it is enough for you. That is what I can reiterate, Maria. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I see we've run over the time. Let's finish this in the next 4 minutes. Collins, go ahead, and then I will close this if there's no more questions to be answered. Go on. Thank you.
Thank you all for patience. I would like to address the GPA. Each admission committee in every department has an expert to look on GPA. So as long as you provide your transcripts, they have a way to relate the GPA for Kenya, for Zambia, for Malawi, to which standard in the US. For Kenya, I know from second class lower to first class, the GPA might, because you might be having different, you have a lower GPA, but the research you want to focus on, you had a higher GPA in your transcript. So they look on which direction do you want to come and study. If it is mathematics, but you failed in physics, but you're only coming for mathematics, there's a way they calculate that GPA of mathematics between first year to fourth year. So they have experts to look on GPA. So it depends, it is different from each university. Wherever you apply, they have experts who know about each academic system back home, and they are able to reach out to you if they need additional documentation on GPA. But on the last part, I think it is Benson who asked about bank statements and bringing your family. You must know that coming to the US as an individual is expensive. Since COVID, the air ticket ranges from $1,000 to $3,000. So if you put that into Kenyan shillings or Tanzanian, that is too much money. So see how you can first come, if you are a beneficiary, come here, get an F2 visa for family, let family come after at least you are able to save, all of you are saving, and then you are able to bring family after 1 semester or in a year's time. But first of all, just know that bringing 3 people, even a child, you pay the seat. So they treat the child as an individual. So if it is 1,000 per person, that's 3,000. That's around 530,000 Kenya shillings. If you spend that money on tickets alone, you have not yet moved here, you've not paid your rent. And if you get a teaching assistantship, your salary does not come immediately you arrive here. You work for 15 days, then you're paid. So you first settle, and then they pay you later. So just know that as you come here, the first 21 month, if you come early, you are on yourself. So I tell people, if you're planning to come here, start saving each coin today until the day you come. Don't buy clothes, don't buy things, shoes in Kenya. No, 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 no. Save everything and get it here. Most of the things here are free. Like I came, you get eggs, milk, free, winter clothes, free. Maria actually was my host when I first came to America. And the community here, the Kenyan community, African community, they gave to me many things that I never bought till today. So just make sure you are in contact, but don't be stressful about coming here as long as you have a graduate assistantship, a teaching assistantship, and research assistantship. Save money, come settle, and then you handle the other issues. And as Dorina said, you are not a savior of your family. Just come alone. Get a path for yourself, and then when you create a path for yourself, you're always able to carry others along. Otherwise, if you want to carry everybody from, the door might be just small for you.
Oh my goodness, this is so engaging, and we really wish we could go on and on, but unfortunately time is not on our side. I just want to add one more thing on the GPA in the US. There is something called evaluation, credential evaluation. Some school will ask you to evaluate your credentials so that they can see if you meet the requirement for their universities, but it also comes with some expenses. So as we mentioned before, you can decide if you want to do credential evaluation, well and good, but we are encouraging you to avoid extra expenses, because some school will know, like most schools do not actually require credential evaluation to get to know how your GPA is. Yeah, so we hope that this webinar series has been so maybe engaging or educative to you all and important to you, especially if you're planning to come to the US. This is just one of the many series that we hope that we get some time to keep on doing this. But our main purpose of doing this series today was because we've had a lot of questions. How do we do this? How do we do this? How do we get scholarship? And we realized that answering one person at a time was so draining, and also gets a lot of time, energy. That's why we said, okay, let's come together and help our brothers and sisters back in the continent. So we hope that this has been beneficial to you, and we really hope that we'll see you in the US. I'll personally be happy to welcome you in the Pennsylvania State University. Yeah. So reach out if you want. We can't, we can't promise that we'll be always available, because the school is just starting, and we wanted to do this as early as possible so that when we roll into the admission application process, we should be able to have another webinar. So be on the lookout. We might have another series that it revolves around still application and when to start submitting application. Until then, feel free to drop out, and it was real. Okay, Collins has okay, go on, Collins.
We will share the recording of this meeting to you so that in case you came late, you're able to go through. Secondly, we will close the forum tomorrow because we know we will be very busy. We're not able to respond to questions, but we wish you all the best. Reach out to us, and then we'll plan another webinar just before admission so that we see how far you are. You're not able to write an SOP. And if you see we are not responding as fast as possible, just know even as assignments, class, work can just be a lot. And we don't promise to always be helpful every minute, but we will try as God enables us. But also, we will create another forum when we have another webinar, because we thought we don't need to have a WhatsApp that no one is engaging. So we'll just close this up, but follow us on our social media, our status or whatever. Once we post online, you are able to join again. But we really, really appreciate you, because we just called you last week and then you have showed up. Over 86 people have been on this forum, and we'll share the link on the group.
Doreen,
Thank you,
what's your
everybody.
parting shot?
And as Maria said, she is willing to host you. Please, I'll be hosting a Kenyan on 9th who is coming, and I'm very proud of him because we have walked with him this journey. And so I will also be hosting you if you come to my state. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think I'll just add on what Collins has said. So never be afraid of the first stop when you get that admission and that visa to the US. We are all here to welcome you. And I think we will work. I know some of you here might know Maria Collins or Doreen personally, and I know you will be engaging us on the 10th. But we pray that everyone is able to put the things together. And we pray for your commitment. Just be committed to the course. As long as you've ever stepped school in the university, as long as you've earned that undergraduate degree, you have no reason not to come to the US. So keep pushing, and we pray that everything goes well for you, and we wish you all the best. Thank you so much, Maria and Collins, too. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, everybody. And we hope to see you in the US for your further studies. So Collins, Doreen, and myself will be staying behind just to see our friends drop out of there.
Thank you, everybody. Lydia, Anne, Esther, Jacqueline,
Thank you.
Joseph,
Hey, Lydia Mambo,
William, Adrian, many of you.
yeah,
Macrino Dor, my Nolan,
Maggie,
Masaba,
Matindi.
Mogambi Isaiah, Gideon, Maggie, all of you.
I see Aila. There's somebody Aila there, and that's my close family member. So thank you so much for joining.
Oh, nice.
Omeri, Zawadi, thank you. Abigail,
And
Maison.
Fred, my cousin, is also here. Esther, my cousin. Hey, wazee, kujeni US sasa. Sijui ni nini mnangoja.
Yeah, they should.
Maison is my village mate.
The Ma community is represented.
Yeah, Kemi from Mary University.
Lydia Ola, my sweetheart.
Noel, Mary Chomara, all of you.
And we appreciate those people who've come from Zambia and Malawi. They travel that much.
Zelina, and I know friends from Esther also.
Maria.
Collins, I can see Ketere Ezekiel.
Oh, yeah. That's my family. And I have my personal nurse here, Hilda Teaka.
That's so nice. Yeah.
Thank you, all of you.
Thanks, guys.
Zambia in the house.
From Zambia. Mason, see you in the US. Yeah, that's the spirit.
I see Juliet Ochieng. That should be someone I know.
Nancy Ahenda, my sister-in-law.
Hey, Alan, Emily, Florence
Ochieng, thank you so much. I see
Ahenda B, my personal person, is also here.
Actually, Florence Omino is here, and she has an admission from Ohio.
Terry, wow. I don't know. Terry is someone I know. Thank you so much.
There's so much love. There's so much love here, people.
Yeah.
Livingston Otieno, the UN guy, please come here to the US, share with us those opportunities. We also attend UN conventions. Lydia Ochieng, I supervise Lydia at work. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, guys. This was great attendance. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you all.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.
All right. Good night. I'll be stopping to share.
It's 1:23 here in the US, and I know it's around 8